This is the updated instructional video for the Dirty Harry Fly, which was in Tail Magazine twice. Very flattered by that. It's a great magazine. And I just want to take a second to thank all the fly fishers and guides that have been using the Dirty Harry as their go-to fly, and means a lot to me. And I know you're using it because it works, but it really means a lot. I appreciate it. All the way from Louisiana, Maine, South Carolina, etc., Pennsylvania, smallmouth, everything. If you don't want to tie the fly, or if you want to get one that I tied, you can order from my Etsy site, or you can buy them in store at Oceans East down here in the Outer Banks at the Oregon Inlet Fishing Center, or TW's Bait and Tackle in Nags Head. And if you're down in the Outer Banks and you want to chase redfish on the flats, you can book me and my skiff at www.flyfishingobx.com. Thanks, guys, and tails up and tight lines. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to do an updated version of the Dirty Harry fly. This fly is primarily designed for saltwater, but has definitely proven it works in freshwater as well. Caught over 80 different species and counting. So it's definitely, to me, the ultimate confidence fly. It imitates basically whatever you want it to imitate, depending on how you fish it. By that I mean, in the Outer Banks we fish mostly redfish, sheepshead, speckled trout, flounder. So it's a lot of sight fishing. So when you're out sight fishing, you get keyed on what the fish are actually feeding on, and that's roughly how you want to present this fly. If you see they're feeding on crabs, which they'll always prefer a crab pretty much over anything. We have these small juvenile crabs that it's a crab sanctuary at the inlet, and they're just kind of working their way over the flats, kind of mid water column to upper water column, and they're the same profile as this fly, almost exactly, and they swim usually with one arm out, which the tail will dictate. And also, all these fish eat worms at some point in their life cycle, whether it's cinder worms or clam worms or anything like that. The tail is really a trigger. This fly has a lot of triggers. It has bulk, it has the tail, it has a little bit of flash, and then it has the movement of foxtail or craft fur, or even marabou if you want to use that. So it's pretty easy to tie. I use 210 thread, denier thread. We're going to start up in the middle here, and then work your way back, maybe just short of the midpoint of the curve. You want to go pretty far back because the fly, when it's finished, will be inverted. You'll see, we want the tail to present upward as a trigger. This isn't real, you don't have to be real critical on the thread wrappings or anything here. This will all be covered up. Come up to about here. This is a Gamma Katsu SC15 1/0. Works for, I've caught fish all the way, you know, up to over 40 inches on it. So you want to work the thread just about, these are medium eyes. 95% of the flies I tie are medium eyes. That gives it a good plop when it hits the water. It also gives it good movement. It's heavy enough to move vertically through the water. If you're fishing in South Carolina around oyster beds or Spartina grass, go with the small eyes or bead chain eyes, and make it weedless, and it just crushes down there. So it's about 1 eye length back. It's further back than you think. Just put a little bump there, and you can do this whatever way you're used to doing it is fine. This is just how I prefer to do it. I put a little bit of glue. That's probably a little too much. And then I come in here, do like 4 wraps like that. Then I go under 2 wraps. Then it'll be kind of tight. I kind of turn it straight. Do about 4 wraps that way. Now we're starting to make sure it's straight before you start going. That's pretty good. We're going to do cross wraps, helicopter, cross wraps. And it's really important to go under the eyes. That's what really tightens the eyes onto the shank of the hook when you pull all those threads together. Okay. Next, we're going to get a piece of 2-inch piece of ultra chenille, standard width. Seems to work just right. You want to burn the end a little bit for durability. You'll lay this right behind the eyes. Tie that in. Like I said, you're going to go back around the bend of the hook a little bit, which will present the tail in an upward fashion when you fish it. Okay. Now you could just tie 1 piece of foxtail on here and be done with it. I like to, on this particular version, which is the dark brown and orange, I like to put a little hot spot of fuchsia right on its belly here. So we're just going to kind of lay that like that. Wrap back a little bit and then fold it towards the back and then come up right behind the eyes. At this point, I'm just going to flatten that little tip off there. Now I'm going to use some of this EP Thunderstruck. I like the backcountry color for almost every color fly I do. It's perfect. Just grab a little bit of this, and you can adjust this, you know, according to what time of year you're fishing and how much flash you think you might need. Like I said, you can fish this fly as a bait fish, as a shrimp, as a crab, pretty much anything, depending on how you strip it and where in the water column you present it. Okay, so we have that on there. That might be a little heavy with the flash, but you can always pull some off. You can add some on. All right, now I'm gonna kind of sandwich that flash between the fuchsia and the orange. I'll have the orange will be a little more substantial of a bundle than the fuchsia, and even a little bit longer like that. Now I'm going to pull this back. Now this one I leave just the way it is, so that it kind of blends in with the body material, the Estes which is right here. This is dark brown, and it's the opal, so it's got the little bit of flash in there, and it's the grande or the grand. I'm not sure which way you say it, but Grande. It's wider. Fish is better. It gives it a little more bulk, and trims up real nice. So the first wrap or two, very loose. If you crank that, this tail is going to get all fouled up. So very loose on the first two wraps. Then you can start cranking down on it a little bit. And you can use a rotary vise. I'm just real picky. I want it to be really tight, and I haven't really figured out how to do that with this material on a rotary. So now we're just going to tie this in. Come up here, cut this, careful not to cut the thread. Okay, looking pretty good. Now we're just going to put a little whip finish. And you'll notice I have like I said, the eyes set back a little bit. I've adjusted that from my original, just because it pushes a little more water that way. And it also puts the eyes closer to the center of the fly, so it has more of a bobbing motion to it. Moves the tail better. I'll do two. I'll do one just for good measure here. Break that off. Put our resin on here. Just realized I'm doing this without glasses, which is kind of scary, but it seems to be working. Just a little bit. A little bit goes a long way. You don't want a real thick coating of resin on there. It just breaks off easier. There you go. Dirty Harry fly. Now, we're not quite done yet. So this fly sits like this when it fishes, okay? So we want the bottom to be flat. So I'm gonna grab all this, hold it, and I'm gonna pull the material up towards the point. It kind of buries the point, makes it a little bit weedless, and also hides the hook. Pull the sides out. Now I'm just going to come right up here and trim that nice and flat. See how flat that is? It lays, you can't see it, lays perfectly. And just for good measure, make sure you grab everything, the tail, everything. You don't want to burn your fly up at the last second. Just come in here with a lighter, and then I'll rub it against the bench. It makes it real nice and flat. Sits perfectly. That fly right there will catch pretty much anything. And you know your own water, so you can adjust the colors, you can adjust the weight. But this fly is fantastic for smallmouth bass, redfish. Even do a version for bonefish, but pretty much anything, any fish, to be honest with you. So there it is, the Dirty Harry fly. I hope you tie it, catch fish. If you do, tag me, and we'll post you and your fish. Thank you. Have a great day.